you have a trusting organization, you can really try anything because everybody knows that you're doing it for the right reasons.
Welcome to Friday Five with Dave Adams. Today I'm looking forward to a conversation with my friend Karen Church, who's the CEO of Elga Credit Union and is the immediate past chairwoman of the Michigan Credit Union League Board of Directors. Well, Karen started her career in high school, believe it or not, where she was in a co-op position at Elga Credit Union. And she returned to the credit union in 1978 to further her interests in working in the credit union industry. In 1993, she became CEO. And Karen has seen the credit union grow from a one branch, $3 million credit union with 5 employees to nearly $1 billion, 13 branch credit union with 240 associates. That's a pretty amazing growth journey. Karen walks the talk and encourages her employees to be involved outside the credit union as well, involved in charitable work and community organizations. And she lives that and leads by example. Collectively, Elga Credit Associates provide over 3,200 personal hours each year of service to cover a multitude of community events. I know you're going to enjoy this conversation and hear of Karen's passion for the credit union movement and her perspectives on leadership. Karen Church, welcome to Friday Five with Dave Adams. I've been really looking forward to having this conversation.
Well, hello, Dave. It's going to be just fun. I know it.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a long time no see, tongue in cheek, because you know that we were all participating in our board planning and board meetings earlier this week. So it's good to see you again. And in this forum, this gives those who listen and watch an opportunity to be a part of the conversation and to learn a little bit more about you and your leadership perspectives and your personal passions and how the credit and difference has meaning for you. So let's get right to it. I'm really looking forward to it. So with all your years of experience working in the credit union industry, seeing Elga Credit Union grow from a tiny credit union to one that is having so much impact now, I think it'd be great to start and just have you kind of look back and recount your career journey in the credit union industry.
Sure, it goes so fast. These years are just flying by. I started with a credit union as a senior in high school, a co-op student. We were a little $3 million credit union, and there were about 5 of us at the time. And then I had a little break, and I came back after a honeymoon, and they needed someone. And I happened to be unemployed, so it was perfect timing. I came back, and we were still quite small and still only 5 people. And it was back in the day when you did everything, much like the great American story we hear from so many in credit union industry. The more you learn, the more you want to learn. It gets in your blood. You absolutely love it, which I did. And I didn't realize that I was being mentored to take over someday. And that day came, and I was quite young. I was really nervous about it. And my board supported me, and we just learned together, and we started growing. I reached out to the league. I'll never forget. I needed to do projections on how quickly we could grow our credit union so we could afford a new building, which we needed so badly. And at the time we were at $30 million. We did the projections, and it looked like about a 5-year turn to get to 50 million, which was the magic number for us to be able to afford a new building. And we decided at that point that we needed to set some pretty good goals so we could reach that growth. And we did it in 4 years. We opened the new branch, and it was amazing. Growth just started happening. And 25% growth is what we experienced for the next 12 years. So we were doubling in size every 4 years for that 12-year stretch. Pretty incredible. We were at 100 million before I knew it, and growth just continued after that.
And we always talk like this. You and I are kind of at a similar stage in our careers. And so we look back, and but doesn't it just seem like yesterday when you were getting started? You can probably remember those early years where things were so different.
I sure do. I remember them like they were yesterday. I can remember specific stories, and then there's things that I don't remember so well. Funny how that works. But.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I think those of you who know you well in the industry, as do I, know that you've always been involved in with groups outside your credit union, whether it's credit union service organizations or the chapter, or on the Michigan Credit Union League Board of Directors, where, by the way, congratulations, you just recently stepped down after two years as chairwoman of our league. But how did that start? What drives your passion for getting involved outside the credit union?
I just think that we always need to be interested in our community larger than our small one that we live in day to day. I think it's great to be able to help others achieve their goals, because then they help you achieve yours. It just works that way. In our Flint area, as you well know, we've needed many things over the years, and I've had a passion to try to help in any way that I can. The chapter was always interesting to me. I loved when we were doing a lot of education sessions together and cooperative advertising. We'd get together and discuss that. I just found it really great to be able to network with other people and understand what some of their challenges were, and understanding that we weren't alone if we were running into something. I just think it's great to learn more about other people and other industries, and try to help where we can.
So this Friday Five podcast gives me opportunities to at least once a week visit with credit union leaders like you, Karen. And in case it isn't evident to everybody, Friday Five, our staff came up with that brand, and it's putting a podcast out every Friday with 5 simple questions. And the questions are about career journey, leadership lessons, credit union difference, what's different today, and then personal interests. And so when I ask you, I'm looking forward to hearing your perspectives on leadership lessons that you've learned, that you've observed over the years. And before I do that, I'll say that my own personal observation is that you're the type of leader who is so positive and enthusiastic in all of your encounters with your staff and with those outside your credit union. And you make people want to follow you because they can see how enthusiastic and passionate you are about what you do. So I'm just going to say that right on the front end, that I admire that leadership trait. But when you describe, so maybe you could describe a couple of things, whether it's how you were mentored or what you see now as the most important leadership traits that you want to pass on as you mentor emerging leaders.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about our culture here at the credit union. We love to promote from within. We encourage ideas to come forward, and not all ideas are great, we know that. However, it gives the people the ability to think outside of what they're doing day to day, and it really does show us those that may be great leaders someday. We have a heavy emphasis on coaching, not only our leaders being coached, but they are coaching all of those people reporting to them. And I think when you offer people one-on-one time like that, to really hear what their roadblocks might be, or what their dreams of where they'd like to be in the credit union someday, and you can help them get there, there's magic that starts happening, because they're excited about that, and they will do things to make you notice. And I think we've had great results from this type of a culture. We have the youngest leadership team, I'm sure, in most credit unions, and they are so dynamic. They have so many good ideas, and they have a lot of energy. And whenever we set a goal, we get on it and they just make it happen. I absolutely love it. I think a second lesson that I've learned, and it's really made a difference here, is we don't have secrets here. So we share everything as far as the financials and where our challenges are and what we have to focus on. We teach the entire staff what some of these numbers mean. Our efficiency ratio is one that's very important to us. Everybody knows about that. And we definitely set that as something we talk about every single month. So every month we go over some of the financial data that we share with the board, with all of the staff. And it's just exciting to see how engaged they are and how interested they are in understanding those numbers and understanding how they can make or change those numbers. I think those are the 2 biggest lessons to me that has made a difference for us in our growth.
And that transparency that you just described, doesn't that foster a lot of trust with your team members in management?
Absolutely. And we talk about trust a lot. Trust is the foundation for any business to grow and thrive. If you have a trusting organization, you can really try anything because everybody knows that you're doing it for the right reasons.
And what a great segue to the next question, which is the credit union difference. And again, I am so proud of all of our credit unions in Michigan and the leaders and the staff who demonstrate the credit union difference every day. But when I think of Karen Church and Elga, I see truly a credit union that stretches to meet the extraordinary service needs during the toughest of times, whether it's past recessions and the Flint area in particular, or the one we're in now. So we talked about trust with team members, and certainly trust is one of the big differentiators for credit unions. But when you think of the credit union difference, we use those terms a lot. What does that mean to you? And what does that mean to your credit union and how you serve your members?
Well, we made a decision a long time ago, early in the 90s, that we were going to talk to each individual as though they were the only one in our world at the time and look at their story, look at their situation, and understand why they could afford what they were asking to do. And with that, it brings trust between you and your member. If you take the time to really listen to your member and understand that what you see in black and white isn't the whole story, and usually it's just a very small piece of the story, they're excited about that, and they'll tell you anything you need to know to help you make the decision that you need to make. So I think that's the biggest thing that credit unions do better than other financial institutions is we take the time, we make the time to talk and listen and understand our members. We also do a good job of understanding what's important to them outside of their financial business. So if they're passionate about a charity or something that's going on in the community, and you can lend a hand and help them achieve whatever goal they're trying to achieve, that is meaningful to people. And we've had many people come through our doors saying, you helped with this event or that event, and that was important to me, and I want to do my banking where somebody cares about what I'm caring about. So I think that, again, when you help others achieve their goals, they want to be closer to you. They want to know more about you, and the relationship starts to build. I think credit unions do a wonderful job with that. You look across our state and all of the help that our credit unions give to so many organizations, it really is heartwarming. And I'm so proud of the industry and what we do. I'm happy to be a part of it for sure.
I share that. Now, obviously, credit unions need to have a sales culture too. So I'm sure that you're encouraging your team to sell products and services and expand awareness. Does that make it tricky sometimes when you're just trying to provide service and be a listener versus more aggressively selling products and services?
Well, I've always taught the people that come through our doors, if you think you're giving good service because you're listening to the person and knowing a little bit about their family and wishing them a good day and so on and so forth, but you're not offering them something that might help them do better in their financial life, that's not good service. So if they find out they could have made more interest on a product, or they could have saved money on one of our cards or loans, or there's a save your change or a save to win, if they didn't know about those things and that would have helped them get a little bit ahead, that's not good service. So we really believe that. Some days are easier than others. It depends on the people and how much time they have, but we have a strong sales culture in listening and understanding what the person might need that they may not know about. And so we've taught that for a lot of years. Our lenders are absolutely wonderful salespeople. They do a great job protecting their loans, making sure the person understands how important it is if something should happen that they don't expect. They do a great job cross-selling. So I think we've done a good job in making it sales equals service and service equals sales.
That's great. I love that. And I would guess that providing top-notch service sometimes also means saying no, right? Oftentimes saying no. When you're engaged in responsible lending and financial counseling, sometimes it's advising members to take a different course. How do you deal with that?
Well, that's funny you should ask that. I just hung up a call before connecting with you. A young man who just bought a car, and he has already decided that maybe he don't like that car anymore, and would it be okay if he just traded it in and got another car? And I said, well, have you stopped to think about how much of a loss you're going to take on the car you just bought? Well, it's not going to be that much. I said, well, I think that you'd be surprised, because when you drive it off the lot, it's quite a bit. You do your best to explain to people why what they want to do might not be in their best interest. And at the end of the day, it's up to them. And you hope that you can bring some meaning to why you're trying to, the why behind what you're telling them. And oftentimes it works. I think it's really important with young first-time borrowers to help them understand all the costs to a car loan. It's not just the car loan, but the insurance and all of that. They don't like to hear it, but I do think that you have to do that when it's something that's going to be paid for a long time.
And that is another part of the credit union difference, right? It's, you know, from past economic cycles like the Great Recession, we know that a big contributor was people were borrowing too much and they were getting in over their heads on mortgage loans. It was the so-called liar loans, where people really didn't have the income and the ability to have the size of loans they were getting. And so credit unions have never really been a part of the problem, so to speak, in contributing to people being in over their heads. In fact, the opposite. So I think that's a wonderful story. And that's a segue to the next question, which is, okay, here we are in a COVID-driven recession. Hopefully it'll be short-lived, but people are hurting. There's still a lot of people out of work. There are people who have extraordinary financial services needs, people who have not been saving enough. There's an influx of deposit money coming into credit unions because people are looking for a safe haven. What's different in this environment? How is Elga Credit Union approaching the current economic situation that we're in terms of helping meet member needs?
Well, it really is an interesting time. Our deposits have gone up like everyone else's, beyond expectation. The money is not flowing out as quickly as you would think that it would if people were hurting as bad as they could be. We're taking it day by day. We have not seen the strains of what's going to be happening if the people are out of work long term. Spirits are good. I think that's a great thing. In this particular time, you don't have people as worried or as afraid as they were in the last recession. And I think that they are still waiting to see how everything shakes out. Our delinquency has not changed. Our calls are good calls. The people are feeling confident, and most of our people seem to be working. I really don't have the answer for what it's going to look like in 6 months, and I'm just praying that it continues to be a positive note where people realize that this is a temporary situation. And, you know, we're always here to help them. So when they come forward and they have problems, we're here to sit down and talk about that. And I know we are no different than many other credit unions, and we have done literally thousands of skip-a-pays, extensions, whatever you call them. And those are coming around to the end of the cycle. So it'll be interesting to see how those folks are doing and if they're back to work now or if they're going to need more help.
So in addition to our members, another trend that comes out of this environment, virtually all businesses were forced to get comfortable with work from home arrangements for employees. Now, credit unions and financial institutions were hit in a different way because not all of your employees had the luxury of working remotely. They had to be frontline service providers. But it seems to be a trend that's going to stick for a while. We read a lot about how throughout our economy, employees in different businesses are saying, you know what, I kind of like working from home. I'm not sure I really want to go back. I'd like to work remotely if possible. Now, credit unions are affected by that. How are you approaching that? I know some of your team members are probably going to be given an opportunity to work from home. There's a win-win opportunity there, but not all. What are some of the issues that you're dealing with that trend?
Well, really, the issues are non-issues. We have about half of our team that's working remote. They are enjoying it. They have all said, I'd like to come back a couple days a week. Although being home is really nice, productivity is high. They're doing a phenomenal job. And those that are here are the branch folks and the ITM people, that frontline staff, that member faces. They've all been here and they've been in good spirits as well. Of course, they would like the opportunity to work remote. I'm sure of that. Yet they understand, and they have been absolutely wonderful through these last 6 months. We've asked them to do things differently. They've done curbside service and all kinds of ways to take care of people that they probably would have never even dreamt of. So it's been interesting, and everybody has been solid in their performance and in their attitudes. I'm really proud of the team for how they've managed through this time. Long term, we're going to keep people remote. I'm sure of that, and give them a couple of days a week in the office if that's what they so choose. It's going to be a different world for everyone.
Yeah, I think for credit unions as consumer facing and small business facing businesses, much like restaurants and retailers, they don't have the luxury of saying, okay, all positions can work remotely, because people expect to have that human interaction. But certainly there are a lot of functions: administrative, back office, lending, loan processing, administrative type positions, where, much like these other businesses, there are opportunities to explore. Interesting times. Well, so let's shift to the last question, which is your personal interests. I happen to know that you are very family centric. You love to travel, and I know you use your PTO time for charitable causes that you're passionate about. But maybe share with us just more broadly and more specifically what your personal interests are outside the credit union.
Well, you've hit it pretty well. I absolutely love traveling, and I love traveling with my family. So whenever we have the opportunity to get together with family and take a trip, we do that. I am super excited as I have new grandchildren on the way. I have twin girls, I just learned this past week, that will be here in January. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have 4 grandsons that are absolutely delightful. They love their grandma, and I just love playing with them, and they're into the beginning sports. So anytime we can get away and see a soccer game in Grand Rapids, that's what we like to do. So any family time we can get, we eat it up. I used to have a love and a joy of photography. However, digital has changed a lot of that. I don't take near the photos that I used to take, and I still enjoy that, and I spend some time with that whenever I can, but it is one of my lesser used times these days. Most everything is around the grandchildren whenever I can get my hands on them.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Congratulations, and I'll look forward to the pictures when those twin granddaughters arrive. That's wonderful. So just to wrap up, so this COVID pandemic, it's had just significant implications for us in our personal lives and in our credit union work. What silver linings do you see? Are there lessons we've learned? Are there any positives that have come from this challenging time that we're living through?
Oh, sure. There's always silver linings. And I think that, the whole remote work and how well that's worked out for most, I think that's been a great silver lining. I think the fact that we have been able to work with members in a different way than we ever have before has built stronger relationships with them. And I think that every time something like this happens, we emerge stronger than we were before, somehow, some way. That's just the way it works. And for Elga, we've learned to be more efficient in different ways as we've really focused on keeping expenses at bay while the income is trying to catch up with all those deposits we took in. It's been a really good time for learning and thinking outside our box, and that's always a silver lining.
Well, I've always admired and enjoyed your optimism and positivity. And on that question, it's certainly no different. And I agree. I think for credit union members, one of the silver linings is that we've been trying to get people to understand remote service delivery and how they can take advantage of mobile banking and call centers and other forms of remote service delivery. And people have been forced to try some of those things that they might not have done otherwise. So that opens up opportunities for efficiencies. And we've all been trying to get our hands around remote work. Our employees have always asked for flex time and opportunities to work remotely. And so we've not only been able to experiment, but we've been thrust into a mode where we've had to figure that out. And it's made us as leaders, I think, more open to that. And Last thing I'll say, because you focus so much on family, is I think it's, like it or not, this remote work world has given us, like it or not, of course we like it, more opportunities to spend time with family and to appreciate our health and to understand how important it is to focus on family. Well, Karen, thank you so much. It's been wonderful talking with you. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on leadership and the credit union difference that you're so passionate about, and your personal interests. I've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave. You let me know when I get to interview you.
Hey, let's turn the tables. I like that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Again. Bye now.
Thanks to Karen Church, CEO of Elga Credit Union, for a great conversation. I appreciated her perspectives on participative leadership and getting everybody involved. She talked about the very young and innovative leadership team that she has there at Elga. And I have observed from my own personal interactions with Karen and the credit union just how innovative they are and how much they strive to listen to everyone on the team and to get everybody involved. I also appreciated the emphasis on trust. She said there's no secrets at the credit union. They're very transparent with all of their employees, and of course with their board of directors and with their members. And that trust that is developed really comes in large part from that transparency. I loved hearing perspectives on the credit union difference, to take one member at a time and to listen and learn and serve those unique interests and needs that come with each individual member, and to take an interest in helping members with their other outside interests and goals, not just the financial services needs that they have. So thanks again to Karen Church for sharing your career journey, your leadership perspectives, and some insights on your personal interests. We look forward to future episodes of Friday 5 with Dave Adams, and would love to have you on the program if you're interested in doing so. Thank you.